everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my November 2025 reading vlog. So far it is only 3 days into the month, so I have only started the book that I will be reading off of my 100 Epic Reads of a Lifetime poster, and that is The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom. It is a very short, sentimental little audiobook about the 5 people this one character meets in heaven. So there's not going to be much to say about it because it is just that typical sentimental drivel that you're used to being on the New York Times bestseller list. As for the rest of my month, I have already accumulated a pile of stuff. So the first book I am going to attempt to try was a little gift from the library from my sibling, and that is The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. No idea what this is about, but I think it has vampires in it. I also got Absolute Batman Volume 1 The Zoo by Scott Snyder, Nick Dragotta, and Frank Martin. This is the new big thing right now in the Batman comics, where they have stripped Batman of a lot of his character traits and they are starting fresh with new ideas, like what if scenarios for the different DC characters. And this one's Batman. This is if he was young and huge and had a different backstory. And then I also have 3 Robin comics that go through all of the different stories of, I believe, Tim Drake as Robin, and collected into these cute little old editions. So I'm looking forward to reading a lot more from Tim Drake's Robin. So those are my plans so far, so we'll see what I get through first and what I get through at all. So stay tuned. Hello, this is just a quick update to say that I have finished The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom. It predictably got 1 star from me. That is just not the kind of philosophical religious fiction that I ever want to read, and it was only read because it's on the poster, so we're going to move on from that. I am currently almost halfway through The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. It is about this girl who is a human who was taken in by one of the vampire kings of the vampire kingdom and raised, and now she's entering a competition where she is fighting with other vampires, and she meets this vampire boy. All the vampires have wings and stuff, and there's not a lot of character development. There is not a lot of intrigue. It is mostly an action-based book, and a lot of the writing skews very, very young and very romantic-y. So if you are into that sort of genre, I don't know if this book is any good. I think the only romantic-y that I've really read in great detail was the A Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas. That was all on audiobook because I was curious, and I didn't really notice a lot of the bad writing when it is audio, but when you are looking at it on paper, holy crap, sentences are just very incomplete. I understand when there's action, you want shorter sentences, but when it is just a normal scene of 2 people talking, you should not just have words that should be in commas just as a separate sentence. That is just bad writing. And also the little, battle, the games or whatever they're doing in this book has horrible time frame. So they've done one of the challenges, and then there was 3 weeks in between the next challenge but they're just allowed to go wherever they want. Like, there's a side plot of the two main characters training and then, like, going to pubs in the city and stuff. Why aren't you contained for the competition? What's the competition, really, if we're all just leaving and then coming back? No competition in history has done stuff like this. Like the Olympics, you're all contained, even if it's taking place over a week. This is ridiculous. This is not very good, but we'll see how it goes. I have also completed Absolute Batman Volume 1 The Zoo by Scott Snyder and other collaborators, and it was okay. It is just the setup, obviously, for this new universe. You quickly understand this new Bruce's character. You quickly understand why he is doing what he is doing. In this continuity, his father gets shot on a class trip to the zoo with his class. And it's just a very different sort of setup than usual Batman comics. Not a lot has been set up besides showing Batman fighting stuff and trying to figure out some things about both himself and the current plot, and it is just fine. I'm kind of curious to see what happens next, but if I don't get to it right away, that's fine. So this is just getting 3 stars. And finally, I am currently reading this Greek myth retelling called I, Antigone by Carlo Gébler. And it is just what it is. It's Antigone telling the story of, obviously, her father, Oedipus, and everything that happened with him. I am not a fan of when they have the children just tell the story of the character that is going through that. They do that a lot with Oedipus. They're always like, well, what do the children think? And, like, the children have their own plays. They have their own myths. So they should really be focused on that. I understand having their father do such things is very important and very vital to their characters, obviously. But, you know, they have their own things going on. And in this book is only less than 200 pages, and it has gone through the Cadmus myth, which is one of her ancient ancestors. It has gone through currently Laius and Iocaste, and it's not good, and it's breezing past a lot, and it keeps repeating itself in a very, very noticeably bad way. And also they keep using the British version of smelled, S-M-E-L-L-E-D. In Britain you say smelt, like S-M-E-L-T, and that means like metal smelting to me. That's metal smelting. And there's also a fish called a smelt. So why the heck are we using smelt? I'm sure they're British, but like they've used smelt like 16 times, so all I notice is how off that is. Like Canadians use a lot of the British spellings and words for things, but I've never seen smelt before, so it was really noticeable and I thought it was funny. But this book is contributing nothing to both the myth or the idea of a Greek myth retelling as a whole. So far I am not recommending it. I will probably finish it in like the next day. That's how short it is, and that's how like little bearing that it has. So those are my reading updates for now. Stay tuned for what I get into next. Okay, here we are at another update. I have finished I, Antigone by Carlo whatever. That got 1 star from me. That was a huge waste of time. There was not enough nuance, any added detail, or any added emotion to the goddamn Oedipus myth. You know, the one that is solely based on emotion and solely tied to the inability to control your destiny or fate. And, you know, the horrible outcome of what Oedipus did. Absolutely nothing contributed to myth retelling as a whole. Plus, the book ended on a little cliffhanger stinger of Antigone going, "Now I will go off and do my own play. I wonder what's going to happen to me." I won't say what happens because you should just read Sophocles' Antigone yourself and figure it out, but this is a book with no sequels that was named after Antigone. You're telling me this retelling was not a retelling of her myth? That is the weirdest choice I have ever seen for a Greek myth retelling. Yeah, we will name it after this character and have her be the narrator of somebody else's myth that has nothing to do with her. Okay, not a good one. I am starting to run out of Greek myth retellings, and I'm wondering if I even liked any of them at all. And then finally this morning I finished The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent, which is also getting 1 star from me. This is just not a genre that I particularly enjoy, but of course I want to delve into different genres, especially ones that are focused on vampires, and see what all the fuss is about new trends and new things like that. This was just not well written, not well developed. I didn't care about the main couple, and they had the longest chapter doing it I've ever read. It was crazy. But a lot happened, and I didn't really care about it, and there is another book coming out, and I don't care to read it. But funnily enough, this is the last book that I had to read in order to finish 75 books for the year, so I have completed my Goodreads goal for the year. So now the rest of my year can be dedicated to whatever I want, because I'm not thinking about the numbers. So stay tuned for what I read next. I really want to read those Robin comics. I better hurry up and get to that. So stay tuned for that. Hello there, just a small update to say that I have read 3 more things, that being a bunch of Robin compilations. So I read Robin, Tragedy and Triumph by Chuck Dixon and Alan Grant. I read Robin Flying Solo by Chuck Dixon, and I read Robin, A Hero Born by Chuck Dixon and Alan Grant. These 3 compilations all sort of tell the story of Tim Drake's Robin in his first solo missions, in his training missions, and a few events that were leading up to Nightfall when John Paul Valley takes over as Batman. There are a lot of little tales in here, but my most favorite one was of course the Joker one, where he realizes Batman is out of town, he is only fighting Robin, but he's extra mad because he killed Robin, remember? So what is he doing back? I guess he didn't do a very good job of it, and he needs to do it again. So I really liked this tale in the Robin Tragedy and Triumph compilation. As for the rest of my reading month, who knows? I've been dealing with a lot of stuff at home and at work, and of course working in retail during the holiday season. It has been knocking the crap out of me, and this last week I haven't been feeling well, so we are just going to wait and see what else I conjure up, and if not, I will see you at the wrap-up. Okay everyone, welcome to my wrap-up. We are finally getting this over with. From my 100 Epic Reads of a Lifetime reading poster, I read The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom. I listened to it on audiobook. It was sentimental, Christian adjacent, life is beautiful nonsense, and I gave it 1 star. I then read a book called I, Antigone, and I also gave that one 1 star because it was not about Antigone at all, rather just a Cliff's Note version of the Cadmus myth and the Oedipus myth, and a tease of the upcoming Antigone myth that would be happening in the series of events. So boring, horrible, bad writing, not compelling, and not a good contribution to Greek myth retelling at all. I then read Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I think that was the name of it. I've already returned that book to the library. That was another 1 star for me. I tried out a YA new adult vampire romantasy, and it was just too bombarded by very, very bad writing, characters I didn't care about, and a game that they had to go through that just was not fleshed out properly, and there was just nothing to keep me reading the series because I know that there's more, and I'm not going to be continuing that. I did not gain anything from that experience. I tried, and I didn't like it. I had a way better month with comics, at least, so I ended up reading Absolute Batman Volume 1, The Zoo by Scott Snyder and other collaborators, and that one got 3 stars from me. I thought it was an interesting and cool setup for this new version of Batman that they're doing for this series, and I will be checking out the other volumes. I also read all of those before mentioned Robin compilations. We've got Robin, Tragedy and Triumph, Robin, Flying Solo, and Robin, A Hero Reborn by Alan Grant and Chuck Dixon, and those all got 3 stars from me. Very solid stories setting up Tim Drake as Robin, whether it's his first solo mission, him training with Lady Shiva, him facing off with the Joker by himself, and the beginnings of Nightfall, where he is struggling to be a Robin without a set Batman because John Paul Valley choked him and rejected him and kicked him out of the Batcave. So all that was really, really good. Those also got all 3 stars from me. So that's it. That was my reading month this month. It sucked pretty bad. I really want December to be more low-key, and I want to try reading more books then, but who knows. If anything, I could try rereading, finally. I put that as my goal every year, and I never get to it. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hopefully I will see you all next time. Bye bye.